A very good morning to all. Today, we are going to learn a new topic in English, which is about describing words. In the last class, when we started with the first chapter, I gave you an outline about describing words, and I asked you to make 5 words to describe about yourself. So I hope you have done that. So coming to describing words. So what are describing words? A word that tells us more about naming word, that is called as describing word. So you all know what is a naming word, right? Naming word is a name of a person, place, thing, animal. It is called naming words. So describing words tells more about words which tell more about a naming word. We call it as describing word. So let's see some examples to make it more clear. Here you can see picture. So what is this? You can see a table here. It is a round table. So here, which is the naming word here? The naming word here is table. Table is a name of a thing. And can you say which is the describing word here? The describing word here is round. So the word round tells the shape of the table. So round is the describing word. Understood? Coming to the next example. Another picture you can see. It's a picture of a car. And what color is that? It is red car. Right? Its color is red. And you can say it is a red car. So let me ask you. So which is the naming word here? The naming word is car. And car is the name of a thing. And what about red? It is a describing word. So the word red describes the color of the car. So the red is the describing word. Some more examples. Here you can see the another word, curly hair. He has a curly hair. So hair. So which is the describing word here? So the describing word here is curly. The word curly describes the hair. So the curly is describing word. Coming to the next one. Happy boy. Happy boy. So the naming word here is boy. Boy is the name of a person. And it describes. So the word happy describes the feeling of the boy. So happy, sad, angry, all these are feelings. And the word happy describes the feeling of the boy. So happy is the describing word. So what is describing word? A word that tells more about a naming word. That is called describing word. You can take page number 48 in your textbook. There are some examples given. So see the second one, pretty dress. So the pretty, which is the describing word here, the describing word here is pretty. And the word pretty describes the dress. So pretty is the describing word. Next one, big elephant. So the naming word here is elephant. Elephant is the name of an animal. So big. Big is the describing word. It describes the size of elephant. So which is the describing word here? The describing word here is big. The next one, round tray. So the naming word is tray. And round is the describing word. So the word round describes the shape of the tray. What about the next one? Red balloon. So balloon is a naming word and the word red describes the color of the balloon. So red is the describing word. So what is describing word? A word that tells more about a naming word, that is called as describing word. Coming to the exercise. Now let's take page number 49. So here you can see pictures. What you have to do here is you have to look at these pictures and you have to tick the correct option. Let's see the first one. So you can see a parrot and 2 options are given. Pink bird, colorful bird. So which is the correct option? Is it pink in color? No. It is a colorful bird with a red beak and green feathers. So it is a colorful bird. So the correct option is colorful bird. What about the second one? 2 options are given. Hot milk, cold milk. If it is a hot milk, you can see the steam coming up, right? But in this picture, can you see the steam coming up? No. So it is a cold milk. It is a cold cup of milk. What about the third one? You can see a table. Two options are given. Square table, round table. So what shape is that? Is it square or is it round? It is square. So it is a square table. Fourth one. Wet clothes, dry clothes. Wet clothes means which is full of water. And in the picture you can see the water drops are coming. So they are wet clothes. Fifth one. Thin cat, fat cat. So how does the cat looks like? Is it thin or is it fat? It is fat. So the correct option is fat. The next one. Black grapes, green grapes. So look at the picture. What is the color of the grapes? It is green. So what is the correct option? It is green grapes. Coming to the next exercise. Here what you have to do is, we have 8 sentences given here and you have to underline the describing words. So you all know what is a describing word and how to identify a describing word. So I'm going to read out these questions and for each question you have to underline the describing words and then we'll discuss the answers. Okay, the first one is already done. Let's move on to the second one. The black cat ran away. The black cat ran away. You have to underline the describing word. The next one. The blue bird is on the tree. The fourth one. Who is that tall boy? Fifth one. I saw a little mouse. Sixth one. The brown dog crossed the street. Seventh one. My mother cooks tasty food. Eighth one. My friend has a curly hair. So hope you have done the answers. So let's see the answers. So second one, which is the describing word in the second sentence? The black cat ran away. So the describing word here is black. So the word black describes the color of the cat. Third one, the blue bird is on the tree. So which is the describing word here? The describing word here is blue. And the naming word here is bird. The blue describes the color of the bird. The next one, who is that tall boy? So which is the describing word here? The describing word here is tall. It describes the height of the boy. Boy is the name of a person. Fifth one, what is the answer? Little. So the naming word here is mouse and it describes the size of the mouse. So little is the describing word. What about the next one? The brown dog crossed the street. So which is the naming word here? It is the dog. And which is the describing word here? It is brown. The word brown describes the color of the dog. So which is the answer? It is brown. Brown is the describing word. What about the next one? My mother cooks tasty food. Here there are 2 naming words. Mother is the name of a person. Food is the name of a thing. And which is the describing word here? The describing word here is tasty. The word tasty describes the food. So describing word here is tasty. Coming to the next one. My friend has a curly hair. So the naming word here is friend. Friend is the name of a person. Hair, it is also a naming word. It tells about the name of a thing. And which is the describing word here? So which is the describing word here? The describing word here is curly. Moving on to the next one. Here you have 5 sentences given and you have to fill in these blanks with describing words. So this one you can do it by yourself. You can add describing words of your own for each sentences. Let me give you one example. See the first question. I like dash apples. So there you can write any describing word. I like red apples. So red is a describing word which describes the color of the apple. I like big apple. So it describes the size of the apple. So big is also a describing word. So likewise, you can add describing word of your own to complete these sentences. Okay, coming to the next one. Here, there are some words given which have short sound of O and long sound of O. And what you have to do is, you have to read all these words loudly. You have to read these words now. You have to read these words loudly. And after that, let's move on to this exercise. Okay. In this exercise, you can see some words. And what you have to do is, you have to put these words in the correct column. So what is the first column? Short O. And from the above box, there are words with short O and long O. Then, the words which are in short O, we have to write it in the first column, and words with long O, we have to write it in the second column. For that, we have to read these words. Okay. First, let's start with short O. So, which all words are with short O? So, let's read. Dog. It sounds short O. So, you can write it in the first box, dog. Next, frog. It has short sound of O. Then, box. It has also short sound of O. Then next one, long sound of O. Open, rose, bone. All these have long sound of O. So you can write it in that box. Coming to the next one, this is a listening activity. Let's read the question first and discuss. Listen to what Neil's friends are saying. So you all know who is Neil. In the chapter, we learned about Neil. So here, we are going to listen what Neil's friends are saying. So this is a conversation between Neil's friends. So you have to listen carefully to this conversation. This is a conversation between Kumar and Ramu. So let's read this. Ramu, hello Kumar, how are you? So Kumar replies, hello Ramu, I am well, thank you. So Ramu asks, may I take your notebook home? So what Kumar replies? He says, yes, Ramu, here it is. Then Ramu says, thank you Kumar. Then Kumar, did you bring your notebook? Then Ramu replies, I am sorry Kumar, I will bring it tomorrow. So this is a conversation between Neil's friends in their school, between Ramu and Kumar. Coming to the next one, there is another exercise. So we learned about the 3 polite words, right? Do you all remember the 3 polite words that we learned? Thank you, sorry, and please. What you can do here is, you can discuss with your parents in the same manner. You can talk to your parents using this polite words, using remember, sorry, and thank you. Say 3 sentences with these polite words to your parents. Okay, you all have to do it. The next one, there is a writing exercise for you. So here you can see some pictures, and for each picture, we are going to write a sentence. We are going to describe these pictures. Okay. So the first one is already done. Let's see the second one. So can you see, what does that picture says? In this picture, you can see a little girl helping this boy to pick the book. So how can we write it in a sentence? We can write it as Veena. Let's give this girl name Veena. Veena is helping Raj by picking the books. So Veena is helping Raj by picking the books. So you can write that sentence in that space given. What about the next picture? In the next picture, you can see both of them are sharing crayons, and the other one is saying thank you. And how can we write it as a sentence? So let's write it as Shankar. So Shankar is the boy. Shankar is thanking Rebecca for sharing the crayons. So Shankar is the little boy, is thanking Rebecca for sharing her crayons. So what about the next one? What does the next picture says about? In this picture, you can see this little boy is pushing the girl from getting into the bus. So how can we write this as a sentence? So how can we describe this picture? So we can write it as Vinu is pushing. So Vinu is the little boy. He is pushing Leela when getting into the bus. So Leela is the little girl and Vinu is pushing Leela from getting into the bus. The next one. So what is the next picture? In this picture you can see the little boy is scribbling on the wall. So how can we describe this picture? How can we write it in a sentence? We can write it as Stella is telling, so Stella is this little girl. Stella is telling Aju not to scribble on the wall. What about the next picture? In this picture you can see this little boy is pulling the hair of this little girl. So how can we describe this picture? How can we write it in a sentence? So we can write it as Stanny is pulling Vivi's hair. So Stanny is the little boy and he is pulling Vivi's hair. So this is how we can describe a picture and we can write it as a sentence. This is an activity for you. We learned about good manners and we learned how good manners is important in our life. And even we learned about the polite words that we should always follow in our life. So what you have to do here is you have to make a flower. Here you can see a picture here. With all these steps and things, you have to make a flower. And in the center of the flower, you have to write good manners. So it is all up to you to make it more attractive and write good manners in the center of the flower. So once you have done it, take a picture and do send it through Microsoft Teams. The next one is you have to write new words that you have learned. So you could have come across new words. So what you have to do is you have to write those new words that you learned in this space given. So I hope you all understood this chapter. This unit was about good manners. And we learned about the story, the name of the story, why Neil had no friends. And we learned how good manners is very important in our life. So we'll meet in the next class and we'll start with a new chapter. Till then, thank you.